Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are virtual money that you can use to buy and sell products or services. But unlike most money, Bitcoin is not issued by a government, meaning it has no central governing or regulatory body that controls it. This means if a government has bills to pay, it cannot simply print more money, causing inflation and lowering the value of its citizens' holdings. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have a set amount of coins that will ever be in existence, and no one has the power to just make more in order to benefit themselves. Before we get into it, be sure to subscribe to our channel and click the notifications button so you're always in line for our latest cryptocurrency updates. So, why does Bitcoin have any value at all? There have been different ways to purchase goods and services in society, and throughout time, the medium form of payment has always changed. There was a time when gold and silver were the standard. People actually carried around coins made of gold and silver and would pay for items based on the weight of their coins. This was later replaced with paper bills that were actually not worth anything on their own, but were backed by gold and silver, meaning anyone at any time could take their paper money and redeem it for these precious metals. However, in the U.S. in 1971, under the Nixon administration, it was decided that money would no longer be backed by gold and silver, meaning the paper had value on its own. Not that it actually had value. Paper money only had value because we all agreed it had value. Today, paper money feels pretty normal to us because we all agree it has value. But imagine what people felt like when they first started handing over their gold in exchange for paper. Probably a little worried and skeptical. That's likely very similar to how many people feel today regarding Bitcoin. Perhaps in a few decades, cryptocurrencies will start to feel pretty normal, just like how paper money feels today. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have something behind them called cryptography, which prevents them from being counterfeited, duplicated, or simultaneously spent. Cryptocurrencies work on what is referred to as a peer-to-peer network. You might remember one of the first peer-to-peer networks, Napster, which allowed people to illegally download music from one another by making copies. Although Bitcoin does have several similarities, there is one exceptional difference. Bitcoins cannot be copied. Bitcoins interact with the blockchain, which is essentially just one giant ledger. This ledger keeps track of every transaction ever sent. Every fraction of a Bitcoin is accounted for since the beginning of its existence. Basically, money goes out of one account and into another account, and the blockchain makes a record of each account's value change. But if no central authority is keeping track of money, how does it prevent fraud? For example, if I want to send someone $100 through PayPal, PayPal will oversee the whole process, taking money from my account and adding it to another account, and in the process, taking close to a 3% fee for themselves. Bitcoin not only works just as easily, but because there's no central authority, the transaction fees are only a tiny fraction compared to other centralized money transfer services. It works like this. Because Bitcoin is decentralized, anyone can join the network and help confirm transactions. If everyone agrees that the transfer of wealth has occurred, then it becomes an official record on the blockchain. Think of it like this. If 100 independent people are all keeping the accounting books of a company, and they all independently agree a buy or a sell is correct, then it's correct. However, if one of the 100 tries to cheat, the other 99 will all disagree, and the cheat transaction will be thrown out. Now imagine there are several thousand accountants on the network, all making sure their records match exactly. This is essentially how Bitcoin works. Every page of records created by our hard-working accountants is basically a block, and together they create what is referred to as a blockchain. If someone wishes to send Bitcoin to someone else, they inform the network, whereby the accountants simultaneously update the ledger by adding the transaction to the current block, and the transaction is approved. Okay, so now we know how transactions are approved. But how does Bitcoin stop people from trying to spend another person's money? If you've ever spent some time on the planet Earth, you would know there's no shortage of people trying to steal other people's credit cards or full-blown identity for personal gain. What stops someone from pretending they're someone else, much like someone could do if they stole a credit card? Fortunately, cryptocurrencies are based on something called cryptography, which works by providing specific keys in order to ensure the transaction is authentic. This data is then sent through a digital lock called a cipher, which allows it to safely pass through the system while being encrypted on both ends. In order to hold Bitcoins, you must create an account and be issued a wallet. This wallet is not like the wallet you keep in your back pocket, although the idea is very similar. It's a digital version of a wallet, which also allows the holder of that wallet to send and receive payments through a public and private key. To help you understand what I'm talking about, think of a parking meter. Anyone can drop money in a parking meter, just like anyone with your public key can drop money into your wallet. But only the owner of the parking meter has the key that allows them to open it and access all of that money inside, which represents the private key. The private key is what gives all wallet owners the ability to access their money in the wallet. We never want to give out our private key, just like we would not want to give out a physical key to a lockbox holding our money. Doing so will likely result in us not having any more money. In addition, it's very important we never lose that key. There's no locksmith that can come make a new key for us. If the private key is lost, then all the money associated with that private key is also lost. When you send money on the blockchain, the transaction is signed with your private key, which only you have. Once the transaction is sent, everyone else on the network uses the public key to ensure your signature checks out. When it does, the network will then confirm and add the sent funds to the next block. So, as you can see, if no one else has access to your private key, no one else can send your funds. This prevents people from being able to game the system. This does not mean Bitcoins cannot be stolen. It certainly happens. In fact, there are people trying to steal Bitcoins all the time. But when it happens, it's certainly not the fault of the coin, but rather the person in charge of protecting their money. For example, if I went on my lunch break and left my wallet on my desk with a $100 bill sticking out, it might get stolen. When I returned from my lunch break, if my $100 bill was gone, I certainly would not blame the bill. Same thing if you're irresponsible with your cryptocurrencies. Now that we understand how the sending and receiving works, let's move back to the many accountants that make sure the blockchain is accurate. Here lies another problem. Because these people are all over the world, they're all receiving their transactions at different times. If the transactions were sent in the order of XYZ, someone else might receive them in the order of YXZ, and another might receive ZYX. So now we have a bunch of people who all have recorded transactions, but in the wrong order. Well, Bitcoin has solved this too. All of these accountants that update the ledger are referred to as miners. They're all in a race to solve a math problem created by the cryptographic hash function. Say what? Imagine if you had to solve x plus y plus z equals 6. Now, of course, there are an infinite number of solutions, but only one is correct. Whichever miner is able to correctly solve for x, y, and z gets rewarded with bitcoins along with the small transaction fees. This is why there are thousands of people all running super powerful energy-hogging computer systems, guessing at billions of possible solutions and hoping to get there first, thereby adding the next block to the blockchain so that they may receive their reward, at which time a new math problem gets added to the system and the process continues on. It's also worth noting that for every 210,000 blocks that get processed, the number of bitcoins rewarded for successfully generating a block goes down by half. It started out as 50 coins per block, then later decreased to 25 bitcoins per block, and then to 12.5 bitcoins per block. Soon it will be cut in half again. This will continue until the year 2140, when the last bitcoin will be mined, bringing the total in circulation up to 21 million. After that, miners will continue to mine as there will be so many transactions on the block that just the small transaction fee everyone pays to send money will add up to an attractive total. I guess we'll have to wait until 2140 to see. Alright everyone, thanks for watching, and remember, CryptoInvestingInsider.com is always available for those interested in learning how to invest in cryptocurrencies the right way, along with our top cryptocurrency picks. Hope to see you there.